I was celebrating the next week when my best friends are not here. I'm sorry, maybe I should have told you about my dream, but I saw it. I dreamt that.
In the history of that, 3 evictions have shocked me so far. Yes, and I'll mention them shortly. But then, welcome to Big Brother Niger updates here on Leadership TV. I'm Cynthia Onado, and of course, I bring you the gist here on Leadership TV. Yesterday was one for the books. Of course, tears were flowing, but it was expected because this week 8 eviction was like one of the most anticipated. Everybody was like on the edge of their seats. Some people have even already started evicting people. They were saying last day in the house, bye bye to you, pack your load, blah blah blah. But then again, one thing I love about this show is that it will always shock you. And then Instagram and Twitter likes and comments does not translate to individual votes. Okay, that's the funny thing. When people join a fan base, they think that, you know, the person's Instagram engagement or Twitter engagement or Facebook engagement is going to translate into how far they stay in the house. But then you remain shocked and shocked and shocked if you don't do the groundwork, if you don't do the back-breaking work of actually voting. Yes. I don't want to laugh. Let it not seem like I'm laughing at some people, but I love this show for these particular incidences of shock. The shock factor this show brings is what I love. Like I said earlier, I was going to mention the 3 former evictions that have shocked me personally. Well, let's take it back to Double Wahala, when Ebuka came into the house and evicted Bam Bam after a Saturday night party. After dancing with them, you know, jubilating, there was even a live band. He just brought out a paper. The next housemate to be evicted from the Big Brother house is Bam Bam. And then the next day, 38 followed suit. When I think about that eviction, like the shock, the surprise, everything. Who evicts on a Saturday in a party? Who does that? Ebuka. Well, and then the very next day he evicts another person. Well, another one that shocked me too was Pepe then. Kimopra. Yes, Kimopra. You know, she's a beauty queen. She was quite popular on social media even before entering the Big Brother house. And people had already, you know, started saying, didn't even see her going home in that lineup of that week. But shockingly, she left home. I mean, she had a lot of social media engagement, followers liked, and people thought that that would translate into votes. But people that said, lie, you would give me my money through votes. How do you think Big Brother is going to make his money? And then White Money also been evicted in the All Stars. I mean, I don't even think he packed his load. He wasn't expecting to go home that particular day. And then when he was evicted, the shock factor, I mean, White Money was a winner in his own time, in his own set, before coming back for the All Stars, and he felt like he still had the fan base that he used to have. Well, even right after the house, White Money lost a percentage of his fan base because he got embroiled with, you know, talking about women. There were issues since he said about women, feminists, and how women should behave, and that people didn't find funny. And funny enough, the bigger bulk of his fan base were women, so they, you know, those women potted and left to other people and left White Money hanging. White Money was part of the bottom of that week and he was sent home. Well, I have my fault right here. Shaun, yes. When I tell these stories, it makes me excited because I have a list. Shaun has joined my list. I didn't see Shaun going home this week. It was very shocking. And I feel so bad for Wanni because I think at the moment she's still shedding tears, though Onyeka is there for her to give her a shoulder to cry on. But then Shaun evicted and her twin Handi also evicted only one night. Ah, big brother, you know, show love. Oh. You know, show love. The 2 closest people to her in that house went home. We always see this happening when people that are close to other people leaves the house, and then the tears. I can remember also Double Wahala when Leo left and Alex cried a river like a widow. She cried and cried and cried for days. Also the Big Brother Titans, that's the mixture of South Africa and Nigeria. I remember Kosi and Yvonne God's Will. TJay and Yemi were evicted on the same day. That's the guys they were dating in the house. That's Kosi was with Yemi, and Yvonne was also dating TJay. And those 2 guys were evicted on the same day. And this I think that brought them closer. Yvonne and Kosi Twala cried and cried the whole night. I think Yvonne even fell sick right after that, and it brought those girls closer because I was like, okay, our guys, our boyfriends left the house. So that is exactly what we will see right now. Wanni, I just pray for strength for her. It's not going to be easy moving forward, but it's a game and she has to wake up to that responsibility and log it out. I think they have 2 more weeks in the house, so let's see how well she does. But let's also look at the dynamics that we've seen come to play when it comes to the pairing that this season started with. We have like maybe 4 pairs still intact in the house in the Lita ACs, by the way, twins and double K. All of that pairs have scattered, and the fact that one person will have to be the sacrificial lamb for another, but these 4 people have stood the test of time. Even when both of them were up. I think the people that shocked me are the Nelly and Anita. Those 2 girls shocked me. They were up this week and their fans did what they had to do. Most of those pairs were not, quite lucky. When the 2 people in the pair are up and you see one person, biting the dust, one person getting to go home and another person staying in the house. But then, as I said again, social media engagement does not translate, to vote. So it's important for fan bases to do the groundwork. I was talking about this thing earlier where people were already predicting who will go home. Nobody actually saw Shaun and Handi going home. A lot of people actually mentioned TJay because TJay doesn't really have a strong fan base, but people were mentioning Anita, Nelly, saying goodbye to you, this is your last week, and blah blah blah. And then it seemed like the other fan bases relaxed. All right, I would mention Shaun and Handi. I don't know why Handi was made the sacrificial lamb for Wanni. I think if they wanted the 2 girls to stay, they would have stayed, even staying up to the last week, and maybe then making one the sacrificial lamb. I think it's still quite too early for her to leave because we've seen the double K doing it over and over and over again. Kelly Ray and Cassia being up for eviction, and the 2 of them standing strong, standing the test of time and being saved. So why was Handi made the sacrificial lamb? I don't quite understand it. I don't know how these fan bases organize themselves, when they are doing the voting process. But then it's quite unfortunate that Handi had to be the sacrificial lamb. And then for Shaun, this is my personal opinion, I felt like he had a strong fan base. He also had shippers, yes, people who love him and Wanni's relationship together. They were dating in the house, they had shippers. And I also felt he had alliance from his pair with Victoria. Victoria is one lady that we would not see coming in the house. She actually has a large fan base. So I didn't see Shaun quite going. But like I said earlier in the show, the shock factor with the Big Brother Nigeria reality show is that it will shock you. When you think that you've already, played the game, you've done your calculation, you've done 1 + 1 is 2, Big Brother will come and shock you, or Deloitte. Deloitte, the company who is in charge of calculating his votes will come and shock you. So I think fan bases need to do a lot less noise and a lot more voting and contribution. Yes, because your money is what will speak for you. Put your money where your mouth is. Most of these fan bases, all they do is run around the timeline, try to campaign other people, and then they forget the actual work, which is voting, which is contributing money, which is the individual vote, collective votes. That's what you need to do. Put your money where your mouth is. Don't put your money on social media and keep it yapping around, running around, the campaigning other housemates, throwing insults here and there, and forgetting that you actually have to face your favorites and vote for them. This is a very huge lesson, and I say that without a sense of sympathy. I'm going to be quite direct. I don't care whose ox is God. I don't care who gets angry. This should be a lesson to you. When it comes to this reality TV show, you forget about insults. You forget about running around the timeline, the campaigning other housemates, and face the groundwork of actually voting to keep your favorites in the house. That's what you need to do. Instead of calling out who is entertaining, who is boring, who is this, who is doing the work, who is not doing the work, put your money where your mouth is and vote. Yes, that is what I have to say right now. But I'm still shocked though. I didn't see Shaun leaving, but I wish him the best moving forward. Let's move on now to Ebuka doing the live show. I mean, there's no live show that goes by without Ebuka attacking Sooj. I really don't know what. I really don't know what Sooj did to Ebuka, but yes, I know Ebuka is fishing for highlights, so he's gonna attack who he needs to attack, no matter who it is. Well, Ebuka, dipped his claws in Sooj last night again, asked him about the whole, Victoria and Nelly dynamic. I don't know if you guys, watched the, I think the Friday or the Thursday pool party. Right after that, we saw Sooj in a conversation with Victoria in the kitchen, and all we heard was, "Are we good now? We are friends now. We are cool now." And then Sooj said, "I don't have any problem with you." And Victoria was like, "Okay, if you are good to me, I'll be good to you." I think they're just ironing out their issues with the fact that they are nominating each other, which is quite surprising because these two people started out so good in the first 2-3 weeks. They were guys, they were cool, they were playing together. They even have people shipping them together, saying they look good together. So I think, with the face-to-face nomination, Big Brother started out 2 weeks ago, and Sooj found out that Victoria nominated him. He was quite, unhappy. And then the very next week, that's last week, he also nominated Victoria, like a payback. So I think that was just a way of settling their issues. I don't know who pulled who. We just saw the camera on them together in the kitchen area. So I don't know who called the other person for a conversation. But then Nelly came into the kitchen and found them speaking together, and she was quite unhappy about it. She went back into the room and was talking to OC of the Mbadiwe twins and Tofa and Anita also, and complaining about it, that she saw Sooj and Victoria conversing in the kitchen, and Sooj had his hands on Victoria's shoulder, and immediately he saw her coming, he removed his hands, which made it look like he was doing something bad. Like, if you want to hold her with your full chest. Why are you hiding because you saw me, making it look like you have ulterior motives? And then they dragged that matter over the night, dragged this and dragged it. So Ebuka called his attention to it and said, "Why do you think Nelly felt the way she felt?" And then I didn't like Sooj's response to that question. I feel like he kind of threw Nelly under the bus. He said she wasn't happy with the conversation I was having, and then Ebuka had to correct him and said she didn't point out that she was unhappy with the conversation. She pointed out that she was unhappy with you putting your hands on her and taking them off when you saw her coming. So I think kudos to Ebuka for clearing that up, because it would have looked a different way entirely, and but then that's something about shipping in the Big Brother house. There's something ship does to you. Being in a ship in Big Brother house might favor you or it might not favor you. It can increase your steez, or it can reduce your steez. Well, Ebuka pointed out to the fact that, so do you feel like you were doing something wrong? And then it was like, I don't think I was doing anything wrong. I don't think I was doing anything wrong. To me, he didn't answer that question quite well. I think he would have just pointed out to what the issue was, which was the holding, instead of trying to throw Nelly under the bus and make it seem like she said you shouldn't talk to any girl in the house, which is quite untrue. Yes, but then that's one thing, about shipping. The fact that sometimes shipping makes the world see you in a particular light, or it would favor you and get you, a lot more fans. It's either one or the other. All right, so let's move on now. Right after the Saturday night party, I want to talk about the conversation I saw Sooj also having with Shaun. Even right from the party, he was holding Shaun. They were in the party, people were dancing, and they were in a different corner conversing. And right after that party, we saw Sooj again having another conversation with Handi, and talking about the bad blood within, the triplets and Sooj and Nelly. That started right from when Ebuka exposed the conversation that they were having about Nelly's butt, saying Wanni said Nelly's butt is not proportional, like the team no they equal, or something like, let me speak in Nigerian pidgin English, sorry to other countries citizens watching me now, saying that the doctor didn't do the butt behind properly. And then Shaun saying, I'm surprised that Sooj still thinks Nelly's butt is real. We had the conversation before. I think that whole thing just created a fiction between those two groups. That's Handi, Wanni, and Shaun, and then Sooj and Nelly. And Nelly was quite vehemently saying that she's not going to have a conversation with any of them about it. That's their opinion. They said what they said, and she let it go. But I think Sooj has been looking for a good time to actually converse. People are quite different. Some people like to tackle issues as they come. some people like to just let it pass by. Like, I don't care about your opinion about me. I'm not gonna ask you about it. You've said it. You've said it. So I think that's what makes Sooj and Nelly quite different. So, we saw Sooj in a heart-to-heart conversation with Handi, which I actually loved. That was the first time in like 8 weeks I've seen those two people sitting down talking. The highest you see them is they are vibing in the party area. You don't really see them conversing or talking. So I actually love that they had that heart-to-heart. And Handi said that, she doesn't want to fight. She doesn't want to keep people in mind. She's looking towards outside of the house where they will vibe together, party, and they won't even remember whatever it is they were fighting about. So Handi, they kind of just stretched out the olive branch to each other, settling what it is. So that conversation, ended. And then Handi moved to the living room area and was, trying to discuss this conversation which she had with Sooj, with Shaun and Wanni. And I think Shaun in a way was even quite irritated that Sooj had that conversation with Handi. He was like, what was he telling you? What are you even discussing? So later on, we saw just Shaun and Wanni talking about the whole thing, and then Shaun calling Sooj a coward and saying, you had this in your mind how many weeks ago? You didn't say it to me. So it's today that you deemed fit to come and tell me. And then Wanni, on the other hand, talked about the fact that Sooj and Topher, to her, have not been good friends to Shaun. She said, your man them, when I see them, I see the way they move. I'm not comfortable, but I didn't want to tell you, blah blah blah, and all that. So they're just going on and on about it. And I'm like, but Sooj just tried to stretch out the olive branch. So where is this whole thing coming from? At least he has made the effort. You are the one gossiping about me, and then I found out. Instead of you coming to even settle the issue and say, okay, I didn't mean it this way, even as Ebuka has exposed it, you are still angry with me that I didn't come to you. In short, then, this Big Brother house, the matter just tell me. I might be wrong. We might see it from different points of view, but this is just my own deduction from the entire thing. I don't think anybody should be called a coward. If someone finds out that you have been gossiping about them, I think you should be the one going over to apologize or restructuring your words and say, I didn't mean it this way, I meant it this other way. But then the housemates see things differently, and we outside, the viewers, see things also differently. But then during week 9, we have top 11. There are still 11 housemates in the house, and they are top 11. And I think this week they will have to vie for the HOH or even the veto power. Let's see how that plays out. My eyes on the Imbadiwe twins. It's almost like these housemates forget to call them from English. What is going on? Imbadiwe twins. Please deliver them to us. Give them to us. I don't think those guys have felt the kind of friction that most of those other housemates have felt. I think they should be put on the chopping block also. But then let's see the surprise week 9 has for us. I'll be back tomorrow with more BB Niger gist. Thank you so much for watching. I'm still Cynthia Onoaduan. This is still Leadership TV. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.